petroglyphs. It's a prehistoric form of writing.
Yes, I write my story.
Third act need work. Hate cliche of couple breaking up at this point. Welcome, my friends, to Power Rangers Dino Charge. Power Rangers Megaforce was an unmitigated disaster, a sloppy, brainless, pathetic attempt to cash in on nostalgic imagery without any understanding of the significance of that imagery. The characters were so bland that even the actors were demanding something, anything better than what they were getting. What little creativity there was stomped down by sheer incompetence, with scripts that lacked tension, impact, or heart. As a series on its own, it was dry and uninteresting. As an anniversary celebrating 20 years of the franchise, it was nothing short of a farce, facepalm-worthy at best, and maddeningly frustrating at worst. As you may have guessed from the almost 3 hours I spent ranting about it, I did not think very highly of it. But of course, it did not kill the show, and the ratings were only marginally worse than Samurai, so another season was greenlit. As mentioned last time, one longtime producer, Jonathan Zacher, was out. The franchise returned to the well with Judd Chip Lin. As a reminder, Judd Lin basically wrote the book on how to make a Power Rangers season, being the head writer from the middle of Turbo through Time Force, returning for Jungle Fury, the end of RPM, and now again for this season. Some of the things I speculated about Samurai and Megaforce were confirmed in an interview with writer and editor James W. Bates for Den of Geek. Samurai was indeed a rush job, partially as a result of Zacher being convinced that Shinkenger was a great show and shouldn't be changed too much, and the production fell behind schedule as a result of that decision. Hell, the story editor for the show before Bates came on was a translator. Remember my criticisms about the Rangers basically being recruited into a life where they had no real lives outside of it? Well, apparently it was almost even worse. Zacher wanted the team almost completely sequestered in the Shiba house, and a story where the kids would be playing a video game console in the place was met with shock and horror by him. As for Megaforce, the writers were in agreement that Goseiger wasn't as interesting as Gokaiger, especially since they wanted to do the anniversary stuff, but they were under orders to combine the two shows. Bates had plans to flesh out the characters more, since they couldn't just straight up transplant the Goseiger stuff into Megaforce, and immediately Zacher basically told him, no, we're not interested in character backstories or development, and even some parts of the creative team were just on board with translating Sentai plots instead of making new stuff. There were apparently a lot of plans for Troy as some kind of chosen one, a magnet that attracted Gosei to him, and the other 4 Rangers would be recruited as a result of that. The writers talked about a lot of stuff in regards to him, including the idea that he may have been plugged into the morphing grid, which, while I'm not a fan of chosen one narratives, at least the writers remembered the grid existed. His little Super Saiyan blast was supposed to be connected to that he'd have special powers, and Robo Knight would in turn be tied into that as well. The superfluous characters? In Ernie's case, just deliberate homage to the original, nothing major there. Mr. Burley, however, had originally been pitched, as I had suggested, an old Ranger coming back, with Bates apparently saying he specifically wanted David Yost back to play Billy, and acting as a mentor to Noah. Storylines and pitches were made about the difficulties of being a teenager and a Ranger, and Zacher rejected it constantly because it was too boring. Frankly, that explains, in my mind at least, why there were so many action scenes shoved into the series. Bates eventually became so frustrated at not being able to do anything on the series with the teens, so little actual character, that he left shortly after Super Megaforce started. The interviews say a lot more, and I really do suggest you look them up for more details. While it doesn't specifically confirm the idea that Zacher was fired over the failures of the 2 seasons, they do make clear that Saban had a different vision for the show than Zacher, and it was for the best that he was kicked out. Many have pointed out my statement from last time in regards to how Power Rangers was not allowed to skip a season by decree of Toei. The thing is that, as I've said multiple times before, I go by information I can find, and at the time at least, I recall some sort of official statement saying that they were not allowed to skip a Sentai season. If that isn't true, I apologize for the mistake. Although if that isn't the case, then that means they still screwed up by not just skipping Goseiger and get straight to the damn pirates. Otherwise, if it is true, then obviously the deal changed. That does happen, you know, especially when the next series, Go Busters, would have been a bit trickier to adapt since the Sentai outfits are a bit different than anything that had come before. Now, I know some of you are already saying, but Linkara, Go Busters had tributes to Power Rangers in it. The morphing call was, "It's morphin' time," and they called their giant robots Megazords. Oh, well, that's nice. What else? Yeah, see, those are the only two things that people have told me about in regards to tributes to Power Rangers, assuming they were tributes at all and not just phrases they decided to use arbitrarily. Now, I've never watched Go Busters, so it's entirely possible that there were more, but perhaps the viability of an adaptation should not be measured by something that's just going to be dubbed over by the English actors anyway. Speaking of old writers, Amit Bhawmik apparently put together a fan pitch for adapting Go Busters, wherein he suggested that RPM was not an alternate universe like was in canon, but in fact Miranoi from Lost Galaxy, and that Go Busters would be a semi-sequel to it, with more robots, maybe some cameos from old Rangers, etc. It's an interesting thought, but hey, I'm fine with it being what it is. And plus, while I'm all for acknowledging the continuity, the simple fact is that something like that is really more for continuity porn people like me than for the younger audience, which is what Power Rangers is ultimately for. As such, let's just get into what did happen with Dino Charge. The season begins with powers from the past. A small fighter is being pursued by a ship hauling asteroids behind it. Man, after the Moon 13 incident, Jonah really souped up his ship. We're introduced to our main villain, Sledge, as he forces a power cable back into place without regard to the danger of doing so in order to get his weapons back online. We're also introduced to his girlfriend, Poisandra.
So, that's the keeper creature that's stopping us from getting married? Oh, please, allow me to finish this.
Oh dude, bad idea. Never mix romance with the workplace, especially when you're her boss. The fighter is forced to crash on Earth, leading us into the theme song. And it's a damn good one. As I've said before, I love Go-Go Power Rangers, so I'd be happy if it was just always the theme song to the show. But of course, plenty of good theme tunes have come about since then, so I like how, much like with Zeo and Turbo, they just incorporate parts of the old theme into the new tune. Probably helps that the characters aren't yelling their names during it anymore.
Go, go, Power Rangers! Don't you ever stop! Go, go, Power Rangers! You will rise up to the top!
The pilot of the fighter, this ET-looking dude, is searching for the Energems when he comes across a T-Rex.
I mean you no harm. Gather the bravest among you. I need your help.
Bring to me 5 CGI dinosaurs with attitude. The alien, who goes by the name Keeper, locates the Energems and then plays dead as one of Sledge's minions, Fury, finds the ship. Before he can give Keeper a killing blow, he spots the Energem container and, like an idiot, doesn't bother to open up the box to make sure they're inside, instead bringing them up to the ship. We quickly see that Sledge's ship is carrying dozens, if not hundreds of monsters. But in cells. He reveals that he's a bounty hunter, planning on getting rich before he marries Poisandra. Fury returns to the ship and presents him with the container.
The entire universe will grovel before me. What? It's a bomb!
Coming this summer, E.T. 2. He's phoning home to inform your next of kin. The explosion sends Fury back to Earth and critically damages Sledge's ship, to the point where the asteroids he was hauling get loose and, well, considering we're in an age of dinosaurs, you see where this is going. A theory early on was that one of these asteroids contained the Dino Gems from back in Dino Thunder. After all, they had been said to have come from the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs, but as we'll discover, that is probably not the case. In any event, Keeper meets up with a bunch of dinosaurs.
You are the mightiest creatures on the planet.
Well, screw you, Helicoprion and other giant prehistoric sea creatures. He presents the gems to the dinosaurs.
Their incredible power transcends space and time, good and evil. Your spirits will bond with them and keep them safe.
Let's just hope that there aren't any extinction-level events coming. But really, what are the odds of that happening? Fury arrives and gets into a fight with Keeper, but they're interrupted by the asteroids crashing. Gotta love that seamless CGI integration. I'm just laughing because Mike Nelson of Mystery Science Theater once said that he wanted to keep riffing on movies to the point where CGI dinosaurs were easy and common, and, well, here we are. We cut to the modern day in the city of Amber Beach. And yes, shock of all shocks, the city in this series has a name! We see a tour guide at a museum talking about the extinction event. One person on the tour, Tyler, makes a note of the fact that the bones were found at a nearby volcanic cave. We then meet Shelby, who is working as a waitress at the museum's cafe as she accidentally spills a roll into the soup of Dr. Kendall Morgan, the museum curator. Just to further prove how into her job she is, she delivers food to people who hadn't even ordered yet.
You didn't need to order because I read your minds.
What's sad is that after 20 plus years of this franchise, you can't ever be sure if someone is joking about that or not. Anyway, she follows after Chase, a janitor at the museum.
Hey, Sherry. You bringing me a present?
Yeah, it's a knee in the crotch. And it's a gift that keeps on giving if you keep acting like a dude bro. Chase is going on a fossil hunt and Shelby wants to come along, although he's just interested in hitting on her. We also meet another custodian, Coda.
Man, I'm never gonna get to go. Hey!
Yeah, see, this is why it's so easy for me to believe that she has psychic powers. Kendall shows up and reiterates that indeed Shelby can't come along.
You can't come. Museum policy.
So what part of museum policy is it to take the guys who mop up the bathrooms on archaeological digs?
For your information, Chase and Coda are very highly trained museum personnel.
We're gonna find those fossils assembled into a crude bong, aren't we? But yeah, Shelby, after having demonstrated some dinosaur know-how, is rejected, but decides to stow away in their truck anyway. In the meantime, Tyler goes to explore the cave. Man, Andros is really kind of off his game. The figure chases him off until he discovers a partially uncovered T-Rex skeleton and one of the energems inside of the remains. Back over to Shelby, she gets ready to reveal herself to the others at the dig site, but she spots the cloaked figure grabbing a box from the back of the truck, laugh evilly, and then run off with it. She tries to get the attention of the others, but they can't hear her over the sounds of their equipment. She chases after the figure and manages to get the box away. She drops the box, but Tyler swoops in from friggin' nowhere to get it away from the cloaked figure. The figure removes its cloak, showing it's some kind of ice monster. Fortunately, Tyler's got this. Of course, the monster's potassium deficiency! It's one weakness! You monster, you haven't done your laundry yet! Wait a second, Tyler's not a Power Ranger, he's Shovel Knight! Actually, he's quite handy with that, deflecting several of the monster's blasts away. Unfortunately, the last hit destroys the shovel, leaving them wide open to attack. The blast knocks them down, revealing that it contained the pink energem. Both start glowing, and touching them gives them a vision of the dinosaurs. And gives them guns! The energems go inside the guns, and spinning the barrels causes them to shoot. However, actually pulling the triggers...
What's happening?
I don't know. Look out!
What in the world?
What? They've become rangers!
They punch the monster away, but before they can do anything else, a T-Rex Zord shows up and storms through them, causing them to demorph. Man, if only Tommy was in this season so he could kick the thing. The Zord tosses the monster far away.
Did we just fight an abominable snowman and almost get trampled by a T-Rex?
And the worst part is that you're not even going to get overtime pay at the cafe. Shelby spots the others driving off, none the wiser for all of what happened. Tyler, though, has his own car, and we get some exposition to end the episode. Tyler's dad disappeared 10 years ago on an expedition, with the only clues to what happened to him being his journal. He describes a creature that chased him out of the caves from before, and the drawing looks a hell of a lot like Fury.
My dad used to say, helping is always the right thing to do.
Kinda screwed him over when he decided to help evil people. The second episode, Past, Present, and Fusion, picks up with a new character, Riley, who lives on a farm while being a skilled fencer.
Playing Three Musketeers again?
For the last time, you're never gonna be Oliver Platt. After his dog wanders off, he finds his pet about to be killed by Fury, truly showing off how evil our villains are. Riley's skilled, but he's attacking a monster with a small metal beam, so obviously he's not really doing much damage. Fury knocks the beam away until it hits a rock, conveniently smashing away part of it to reveal a fossilized dinosaur and the green energem.
Well, suddenly I have a refreshing mint flavor.
It also transforms the beam into a sword, which he uses to fight off Fury until he can escape. Wanting more information about the Energem and the vision of a dinosaur he saw when he touched it, Riley takes up a job at the museum for the summer, his brother fixing up a moped to get him there. And that brings him right on track to meet up with Shelby and Tyler, who stop to help him when it breaks down. What's more, this is apparently the most unsafe road in the country, as they soon come across more people in distress, an overturned car with a trapped man. They're at first unable to get the car off of him, but their respective Energems glow and allow them to casually fling it into the air where it explodes. I guess vehicle safety regulations have gone down after cars keep getting stepped on by giant monsters and robots. On the plus side, they're much cheaper to buy. At the museum's loading dock, Tyler inadvertently opens a secret entrance inside of a dinosaur head model, allowing the three to enter the command cave. Inside, they find two more Dino Gems, the blue and black ones, suspended in an alcove. Shelby holds hers up to it, where it is immediately pulled into it. The same happens to the others. Keeper shows up, who looks pretty good for a guy over 65 million years old, and gives them his backstory about giving the Energems to the dinosaurs. Kendall, Chase, and Coda come out and explain why the Energems attached to them. Tyler for him helping a stranger, Riley for his discipline and intelligence.
Shelby, why the pink Energem chose you is anyone's guess.
Someone's jealous. Chase and Coda welcome them to the Power Rangers, but they note that they only have 5 of the Energems. There are still another 5 out there, and they have to be found. Their detection systems read unusual seismic activity, and the group wants to go investigate, though Shelby is reluctant. Kendall is a dick.
It's her decision, Keeper. She's right to be hesitant. Clearly, this mission is just too dangerous for a waitress.
You're one of those assholes who leaves condescending notes instead of tipping, aren't you? But yeah, she reaffirms that while this is freaky deaky, she knows more about dinosaurs than any of them and wants to help. They grab their Energems and prepare to head out, but Tyler's won't recall back to him. There's something wrong with it, forcing him to remain behind while the others investigate, finding an active volcano that blows. But instead of releasing ash and lava and whatnot, it instead spews out a robot. The T-Rex Zord seen before.
When someone bonds to an Energem, their Zord is awakened.
So, did the T-Rex Zord just go into the volcano only to erupt again? Tyler and the Zord share the same dinosaur spirit that's contained in the Energem, probably part of the merging process when Keeper gave the gems to them. The equivalent of power coins or cards or whatever are the titular Dino Chargers, batteries that Kendall created that contain the power of the Energems that are placed inside of the morphers and allow them to go into battle mode, aka, you know, the suits. They need to be recharged inside of the alcove in the cave.
I get to morph again? Cool.
Yes, I suppose it is cool.
Oh, you kids today who are the same age as me and your hip-hop lingo. Tyler is able to pull his Energem free, although that makes you wonder why they need to pull out the gems if the chargers are the things powering their tech. The ice monster from before comes out again and begins freezing parts of the city in the hopes of killing the Rangers and taking the Energems.
It's a cold town.
We're introduced to the foot soldiers of the season, the Vivix, who have the distinctive feature of the weird mask/tentacle head things. Kinda makes them look Lovecraftian, as if their faces are too horrific to show. However, more interestingly is that the Vivix can merge together and become Vivizords, giant monstrous creatures. Tyler shows up to confront the monster.
It's morphin' time! Dino Charger, ready!
T-Rex Charger, engage!
Oh hey, it's Mystery Voice from the Mystic Force Morphers. The Dino Charge Morpher is a gun. And that is glorious. A unique design, it serves as the main weapon for the team, and it's activated by spinning the revolver section of it. The morphing sequence is fairly average. Dinosaur head pops out, bites down on the Rangers, changes them into their suits. And yes, the suits themselves. I'm not that big a fan of them. The helmet is the best part, each one resembling their respective dinosaurs, much like the original Mighty Morphin ones, but the visor encompasses more of the face of the helmet, and the mouth guard is actually inside of it, except when they're inside of their Zords. However, I feel the main suit is a bit too busy. 2 different color tones for the respective Ranger color, a huge sash with the zigzag line, a dinosaur face symbol, a single shoulder pad that, when combined with the sash, makes the suit asymmetrical and just looks a bit too uneven for me. It's not terrible, but it feels a bit gaudy and over-designed. The Rangers defeat the Vivix, and really, how appropriate is it that their first monster is ice-themed?
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
The Rangers return to the command cave, Riley wanting to tell his family about all this, but Kendall tells them they have to keep it a secret. It definitely makes sense this season. After all, you've got E.T. as your mentor. Of course the government's gonna be a dick about it and try to take him. Keeper, however, is distressed about another matter. The monster that they fought was one of Sledge's prisoners, meaning he's returned, and is using the prisoners now as his fighting force, similar to how Rancic used the Time Force prisoners as his army. The two episodes are definitely a return to form for the show, especially after Megaforce tried its damnedest to use up all of its Sentai footage, no matter how much it hurt the story. It's particularly encouraging when Powers from the Past features no Sentai footage whatsoever, a first for the entirety of the show as far as I recall. Powers from the Past is definitely better than Past, Present, and Fusion, which has the job of spilling a lot of exposition, so it feels a bit rushed. Powers allowed us to be introduced to several characters while getting their personalities down pretty quickly and moving at a good pace, building up some mysteries and setting up future character arcs. The acting is fairly solid by Power Rangers standard, just the usual awkwardness you come to expect in the first episodes as the actors get adjusted to their roles. It helps that everyone has personalities, of course. As with the past two series, each episode now begins with a recap of the premise, although there is this bit.
As for Sledge, it's a bomb! He was blasted deep into space.
And how powerful was that bomb if it sent him into deep space, but didn't destroy his ship? And yet it took Sledge 65 million years to get back? Back to the Rangers in the third episode, Tyler gets a job as a busboy at the museum, Kendall continues to be a jerk to Shelby, and we learn some stuff about Coda, like why he lives in the command cave.
Coda found the blue energem 100,000 years ago, during the Pleistocene era.
So, you mean Coda's a caveman?
Yeah, I found the energem pretty easily. Turns out it was in the dirt underneath some old guy's police box. Picked it up as soon as he moved it. As long as you're bonded to the energem, you stop aging. Definitely one reason why people would want them, although given how both Keeper and Sledge's forces have failed to age, maybe not that impressive a feat. Recognizing a crude cave drawing of Fury that Coda once made, and getting confirmation from Riley, Tyler recognizes him as the same creature in his father's journal. An alert causes the Rangers to head out and meet Sledge himself, who can fly. Keeper shows up, and Sledge exposits that he managed to snag onto a comet with a tractor beam to ride it back to Earth. I'm guessing his engines were just too badly damaged to ever make repairs, hence the need to do that. Man, you'd think he'd just have gotten married to Poisandra in the meantime, if only out of sheer boredom. And after he warns Sledge that the Rangers will destroy him if he tries to take the energems, Keeper just leaves. Thanks, dude, you're a big help. Sledge attacks them while they morph, and we see he's a bit out of practice since he can't aim for crap. The Rangers fight, but since they're still inexperienced, they get their asses kicked, though Sledge himself even gets in on the action, one of the earliest main villain fights in the show's history. Though it makes sense, being a bounty hunter means he's more likely to go in and get his hands dirty to get the job done, as opposed to someone like Lord Zed. Sledge is a no-nonsense kind of villain, so his way of growing monsters is just a beam of energy from his ship. Interestingly, the Dino Charge Megazord is only made of the red, blue, and pink Zords. The other two Zords make up different formations, like adding different arms. One nice thing about that is that the other individual Zords get a little more activity than usual, providing minor assistance in tasks. The first few episodes introduce slight power-ups in each one, their individual weapons, combined weapons, etc., but unlike Megaforce, it feels natural as Kendall refines their powers and creates new ones. They're not just randomly unlocking stuff, they have a scientist who's actually working to upgrade their arsenal. The Rangers begin searching for the other energems, with Shelby coming up with a scanning device called the E-Tracer to try to locate them, although it only works for one energem at a time. The signature is non-specific, so they can't tell if they're detecting an energem or a Zord, so when they head out, they discover the Ankylo Zord. However, as mentioned before, the Zords only become active when an energem bonds to someone, and since the Ankylo Zord wakes up, it's clear that the Aqua energem is now attached to someone. During a fight with Fury, Tyler's bracelet, which belonged to his father, comes loose, and Fury recognizes it, taunting Tyler by saying he's as weak as his father was. Fury is about to give more details about what happened, but is interrupted by the Rangers calling Tyler for help. He gets the upper hand on Tyler, about to kill him, but...
What is happening to me?
When Jello attacks. Interestingly, Fury manages to painfully recover from whatever that is while screaming, "No, I'm in control." After Fury manages to get his hands on the E-Tracer, the Rangers are forced to destroy it, but I'm not exactly sure why they can't just rebuild the dang thing. In When Logic Fails, Sledge finally throws Fury off his ship, irritated by his constant failure, particularly this time in getting the E-Tracer destroyed. Plus, he managed to get his hands on the Dino Charger for the Gold Energem's Pterosaur Zord, but it's out of power. Whatever is inside of him, he uses it to help recharge it. He gets a hold of the Zord, Sledge re-inviting him back to the ship. The next episode, The Royal Rangers, introduces us to a new exhibit at the museum, The Treasures of Xandar. According to legend, a young prince was being escorted through a forest by a knight named Sir Ivan. They stopped for some water, and Sir Ivan discovered what is known as the Stone of Xandar, some kind of shimmering rock. Fury unleashes the Terrazord on Amber Beach, unveiling that it has its own Megazord mode. They're only able to defeat it because it runs out of power. By the way, I love how after all the jokes I made about Serpentera's AAA batteries, we now pretty much have a Zord actually running on them. As they're unpacking the exhibits, and great job not wearing any protective gloves or anything like that while dealing with the priceless artifacts, guys, the Stone of Xandar starts glowing. As do their Energems. When the box containing it explodes open, the stone is revealed.
The Stone of Xandar is
The Gold Energem.
You'd think Kendall would have seen a picture or something of it first when she decided to host the treasures. Fury is unable to fully recharge the charger, the thing inside of him starting to block his attempts to drain it. They set a trap for Fury and get close to reclaiming the charger, but once again the energy inside of Fury begins to escape. As Tyler stares at it, though...
Is it possible? Dad?
Fury once again gets it under control and escapes. The Rangers, realizing that it might be Tyler's father inside of him, decide that they can't destroy Fury until he's freed. The story continues in the next episode, Breakout. We get a little more of the story of Sir Ivan of Xandar, who after finding the gem was attacked by a monster in a fur coat. The prince was knocked unconscious, and when he came to, both Sir Ivan and the monster were gone, though he still had the Energem. Soon, the Prince of Xandar, Philip III, arrives to reclaim the treasures unexpectedly, apparently pissed off because the trap the Rangers had set for Fury in the previous episode involved them masquerading as him. Dude's a complete douchebag, insulting the Rangers before leaving with the Golden Energem. Fury's forces launch an attack on the Prince's convoy, though before Fury can take it, the Rangers arrive. Coda and the Prince are blasted away during the fight, and they make their escape, Fury in pursuit.
I am at a loss for words. After how I treated you, the insults. Why would you risk your life for me?
Everyone has good on inside.
I'm just a caveman.
After Fury attacks again, he mentions that he's been after this for 800 years, claiming to be the monster that fought Sir Ivan. Fury gets the Energem before the Rangers chase him off, and they tell Philip to head back to the road. Instead, he follows them and watches them morph.
They're Power Rangers.
Put the fact that he specifically identified them as Power Rangers, not just that they're the Power Rangers, but Power Rangers in general, in the back of your mind. It'll be kind of a thing later. They fight Fury and his forces, but the spirit inside of him finally manages to break free, revealing...
Dad! You're not my dad? Who are you? I am Sir Ivan, Knight of Xandar.
Ivan takes up the Energem, revealing his own unique morpher, the Gold Terramorpher. The Gold Ranger outfit is essentially just a slightly upgraded version of the regular outfit, although with 2 shoulder pads, a slightly different sash design, and little wings on his back that allow him to fly. Keeping with the idea of the morphers being guns, the Terramorpher also acts as a little rapid-fire, wrist-mounted gun. Ivan kicks all of the evil forces' asses and takes control of the Terrazord, unleashing its full power. In a later episode, we see that the Terrazord can also merge with their Megazord and give it wings, and in turn, the Terrazord can take on the other Zords as new arms like the main Megazord does. Once the monsters are defeated, Ivan surrenders the Energem to Prince Philip, saying he recognizes the royal bloodline. The Rangers and Ivan exchange backstories, with Ivan saying Fury captured him for 800 years and was only able to escape with the Energem's help, while the Rangers explain about the history of the Energems. Philip gives the Energem back to him and wishes the Rangers luck in finding the other Energems safely. The others invite Ivan to join the team, but since he's been cooped up for 800 years, he wants a chance to explore his freedom. And by that I mean, the very next episode, he's hanging out with them in the command cave. Well, to be fair, it's just a stop-off. He says that any kind of pledge like that is taken for life, so joining the team isn't something he can do lightly. He finally comes around after a failed attempt to make his own group of knights only results in the other rangers coming to his rescue. Still, I think he gave up on these people too easily. Old lady and Scooter could beat your ass with a purse. Ah well, at least after all the crap that's happened with Megaforce and the like, the show finally has its dignity again.
Hey, I'm in charge. I'll fart when I want to.
Truly, we are in a second golden age. Otherwise, though, the story continues in Rise of a Ranger, when a construction crew in Xandar locates an energem. It seems Prince Philip has been searching for them since then, wanting to use them to help his kingdom.
Energize! Unleash the power!
Go, Web, go!
Fury has been taken out of action by Sledge for several episodes, basically shoved into doing menial tasks on the ship. Sledge gives him another chance after he saves Poisandra from a creature that's stuck in solitary confinement. During the fight with Fury, a robot belonging to Philip is sent in to aid them. And of course, it gets its ass kicked.
A machine just can't react the way a human ranger can.
Yeah, isn't that right, Mac? Kidding aside, Philip has come to see Coda to try to figure out how the energems bond with a person.
I believe I have good heart.
Good heart? Well, how does one prove that to a gem?
Yeah, be related to this kid, and it's usually a good start. When Coda mentions that you need to be worthy, Philip goes on a charitable tour, donating money, which Xandar's currency is apparently American, fossils to the museum, and other stuff. He goes to the others and explains how he failed to get the energem to bond to him. Still, the thing is that he's legitimately noble and truly believes in helping them, so he decides to hand it over to them. However, Fury makes another attack. During the fight, Chase's little sister is pinned down, and Philip rushes in to save her. And that gets the Energem's attention, bonding with him and making him the Graphite Ranger. Wait, does that mean he's a pencil? His outfit more closely matches the other Rangers rather than the gold, with really the only difference being his sleeves are blue instead of another shade of gray. He's able to summon the Pachazord, which has a mace, or flail, tail on it. That also serves as a helmet for it. Weird. Unfortunately, because of his station, he can't stick around with the others, but he gives them the Dino Chargers to summon the Pachazord as they need it, promising to come should they call for his help. Later, in the episode, The Ghostest with the Mostest,
it's showtime.
We get our first season requisite clip show, and it's a pretty damn clever one. It's Halloween, and Chase has lazily made the same costume for all the Rangers. Using a duplicating monster and a memory-stealing monster, one of the team is kidnapped, and a clone replaces them with all their memories intact. But since the costumes are all the same and their voices are muffled, the audience can't see who was the one replaced, and the team is asked questions by Kendall about past adventures to try to weed out the clone. In all honesty, it's kind of too good a premise for a clip show. I would have loved to see this acted out in a proper episode. You know, shades of The Thing, paranoia, mistrust, love that. Things properly continue in the episode World Famous in New Zealand, wherein Chase sees a New Zealand newspaper that has pictures of Sledge's transport pods traveling to the country. The Rangers head there. Man, it must have been so expensive to fly from New Zealand to New Zealand. In all seriousness, it's actually nice that they try to be budget conscious and take advantage of their surroundings like that to give the impression of going on a big international adventure. Mind you, the downside is that since the show is already filmed there, it's hard to get across that anything is different than normal, otherwise just name-dropping some New Zealand sites and whatnot. They meet up with the guy who took the photo of the ships, Albert Smith, hoping he can provide some info about what Sledge was looking for. Dude's a Bigfoot hunter, and combined with Mr. Burley from last season, I have to wonder if somebody on the writing staff is into cryptozoology. However, more importantly is that they spot a bike thief stopped by the Purple Ranger. Something's off about him though, since while he's happy to stop the bike thief, he runs off in terror from a monster and the Vivix. However, once that's dealt with, it's revealed to be Albert. After showing off that the dude is doing better athletically than the others, he explains how he got the Energem. During a freak snowstorm, the daughter of family friends ended up getting stranded on a mountain. He rescued her, but in a crevice near her, he found the purple Energem. He's been using a police scanner to help stop local crime, but this is all a little much for him. After all, it's a far cry from stopping petty crime to fighting something that is actively trying to kill you. and likely can. Tyler encourages him though, reminding him that the Energems don't make mistakes, and he did still rescue the little girl. With Tyler's help, he's able to find his courage and assist, but he realizes he can't stay a ranger. He wants to remain in New Zealand since it's his home.
Plenty of other people can be a ranger, but nobody here can replace me.
A bit of a shame, since having an old guy as a ranger would be something fairly unique, but still he did fine on his own. Keeper is able to sever Albert's bond to the Energem so he can give it to someone prettier. Regardless of Albert giving up, the activation of the Energem means that its Zord, the Plesiozord, has been activated. After an episode, they encounter it, and naturally a Zord based on a Plesiosaur is, a jet. I don't know why I'm ever surprised anymore. Still, with something like that, naturally it's also a Megazord. Nothing too interesting there other than it having rocket-powered fists. Now that they have the purple Energem and the Plesiozord, they need to find a ranger for it. They stage a fake accident multiple times to try to find someone who is willing to rescue Kendall, although it doesn't go well.
A hero shouldn't go unappreciated, right? How about a few bucks, for saving your life and all?
Man, Booster Gold has really hit on hard times. Fury learns that they're searching for a ranger and tells Sledge about it. Sledge figuring that they need to use someone who couldn't be mistaken for a monster. His choice? The being in his jail's solitary confinement, named Heckle.
He's not that dangerous.
But I know of several destroyed galaxies that might beg to differ.
We've all destroyed galaxies.
Yeah, but he did it to create a parking space. And he didn't even park there. He just parked on a neighboring galaxy and destroyed that one too. Heckle looks like a human though, so Sledge thinks he can fool them into giving him the Energem. He offers his freedom for his help.
Set me free. How? Good idea.
You monster! Those guys were a day away from retiring with full benefits! What? Sledge is a really good employee compensation package. Why do you think anybody works for him? Heckle has a counter offer for Sledge.
I get you the purple Energem, and we're partners. We rule the universe together.
Careful trying to negotiate with creatures more powerful than you, Sledge. Just ask Necroli back there. Sledge refuses at first, but when Heckle demonstrates his ability to open all the cells of his ship simultaneously, Sledge reluctantly agrees. The monster of the day involves granting wishes that go badly, so when Kendall wishes for a purple ranger, Heckle steps in and saves her. Before she can give it to him to test, though, the monster of the day interferes, not aware of the plan with Heckle. However, Fury in turn steps in and gets the Energem from him. The purple Energem is used to power a weapon for Sledge. Heckle tries to cash in on the deal, but Sledge says it was Fury who got it for him, so deal's off. The two have a little beam struggle with each other, with Heckle shown as being fairly powerful in his own right, but the blast still knocks him back into solitary confinement. Riley suggests that Sledge will come to Earth to try to attack them, so they need to go to the one place Sledge won't expect them to be: his ship. Leading us into the finale for the first season, One More Energem. Kendall invents a device to grab the purple Energem from Sledge's ship. So not so much they'll be getting into it, but a little robot will. Still, it makes sense. They don't want Sledge wreaking havoc while they're up and cozy on his ship. That being said, they realize how dangerous he is now with the purple Energem, so they call on Philip to help them fight Sledge off. They slip the robot into one of Sledge's transport pods to be sent back to his ship, while Keeper comes to actively assist the Rangers against Sledge. He gets his ass kicked and is taken by Sledge, but when Kendall sees that, she stows away on the pod. Sledge also manages to get away with Tyler's gem before he's forced off. Fortunately, Tyler doesn't need his gem to summon his Zord, so he gives them that so they can fight a monster Sledge sends down. In the meantime, he and Shelby take the Plesiozord up to Sledge's ship to help Kendall. Kendall, no, this is not a good time for your RD cosplay. Anyway, she manages to get a hold of the purple Energem. The Plesiozord arrives in orbit.
Let's hope they don't see us.
Tyler, do you think spaceships have a blind spot? Kendall is found out and led to an incinerator along with Keeper. However, she manages to grab hold of some corrosive liquid and escape with Keeper. She tries to fight off some of Sledge's minions, resulting in the purple Energem choosing her and causing her to morph into the Purple Ranger. Tyler and Shelby meet up and make their escape, but Tyler overhears their plans to use the red Energem to power his monster-growing laser into a full-fledged laser cannon capable of destroying the Megazord. Tyler separates from the others to retrieve the gem, storming the bridge. Sledge tries to activate the laser, but the robot that was dispatched manages to get the gem away and back to Tyler. He knocks Sledge into the navigation console, breaking the ship's orbit and plummeting it down to Earth. With all the other transport pods gone, Tyler has no other choice but to leap out a hatch while Sledge's ship crashes into the side of a hill. Fortunately for Tyler, he's caught by the Terrazord. With all 8 Rangers reunited, they form a new Megazord combination and destroy Sledge's monster. With the threat of Sledge gone, Kendall, Ivan, and Coda elect to remain to look for the remaining 2 Energems with Keeper, while the other Rangers are free to go back to their normal lives. They're of course still bound to the Energems, so if there's trouble, they'll know and can come to help. Tyler and Shelby decide to go off and resume their hunt for his dad. Riley also comes along to go back to his farm since it's on the way. So hey, short series, but you know, everything is mostly wrapped up nicely. Nothing to worry about here.
It's my turn now.